Emily has her master's degree in nutrition and integrative health, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she does some really cool stuff with that, including something called nutrition response testing. And you can check that out in our full interview with her, which is also on our site. But for now, she's going to show us how to make something. And it's going to be a matcha latte. I'm really, really excited about this because she told me that this is sort of like an alternative to coffee.
Yes.
Yes?
So coffee can be pretty hard on our adrenals. And it can make us, when we're feeling stressed, make us feel more stressed. Or if we're feeling anxious, make us feel more anxious. So matcha has caffeine in it, along with some antioxidant properties. And it's a lot more gentle, but still gives us that energy boost that we are looking for with coffee.
I love it. So, and I do, because truthfully, I don't even really drink coffee. I drink tea. But there have been times where I've had coffee because I feel like I can use that extra little boost. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. I wanted to ask you, though, before you actually show us how to make it, a little bit about the ingredients that you have.
Sure.
So matcha, this is your matcha.
Yes.
Right? Can you tell me what matcha powder is exactly?
So matcha powder is green tea, but instead of steeping the leaves, it's ground up. So you're ingesting the entire leaf instead of
just like the green tea.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that better?
Because you're getting more of the antioxidants from it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're getting more of the benefits.
Okay, so that dissolves in whatever it is that you're drinking.
Yeah, so we're going to make hot lattes today, but you can use matcha with cold drinks.
No, let's just go through all your ingredients before you show us how to actually make it.
Sure.
So another thing that I noticed about this matcha drink mix is that it says mushroom on it.
Yes. So in addition to the matcha in this drink, I usually add adaptogens. So adaptogens are, it could be a plant or an herb or a mushroom that helps bring your body back to balance. So if you...
Like adapt.
So it helps you adapt. Exactly. Okay. So if you're, really tired, maca, which we're going to be putting in this drink, is really good for energy. Lion's mane, which is already in this matcha mix. Usually I would buy matcha alone.
Okay.
And then maybe lion's mane separate.
Is lion's mane the mushroom?
Lion's mane is the mushroom that's in
it's a type of
this
mushroom
matcha mix.
Okay.
So that's something additional you can add. Lion's mane is really good for focus. So if you have brain fog or, have a hard time with your memory, lion's mane would be a good thing to take.
This?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're telling us you have maca.
So
we have matcha and maca.
Yeah.
Maca is also an adaptogen.
Yes.
And does it have a flavor or?
It's pretty bitter.
Okay.
It doesn't taste great, but when you're mixing it with all the other things, you can't really taste it.
Pretty unnoticeable. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also have here.
So I also have cinnamon. I put it in mostly for flavor, but it's also good for blood sugar regulation.
Which is a nice
so if we're
bonus.
putting honey in the drink, for example, it'll help our body absorb,
regulate the sugar from the honey that we're drinking. Okay, That makes perfect sense.
Exactly. And then, so in there, we put fat in all of these lattes. So and then we're going to make a vegan version and a non-vegan version. So in the vegan version, we're going to add coconut butter. You can also use coconut oil.
So one or the other.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, so you were saying that we're going to use fat in these lattes, and I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Why are you choosing to use fat in a latte?
I feel like a lot of people are scared of fat, and we really need to be consuming more forms of healthy fat than we really are. So putting it in a drink like this is a really easy way to get it in if we're, if we have fear of eating it.
And does it change the texture or?
So we're not putting milk in these lattes at all.
Aha.
So using the coconut, using the fat will actually give it that milky, creamy texture that we're looking for in a latte without actually using.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm being a plant-based person. I have to tell you, I crave sometimes that creaminess, and so I have to use alternatives to dairy. And I will be completely honest with you about this, if the fat actually makes it feel like creamy, because I know when it's chilly outside, I crave that creamy, delicious. There's something satiating about that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the matcha, the maca, and then you have coconut butter, or you can use coconut oil.
Or coconut oil.
And you're adding this for healthy fat and also texture.
Yes.
So it's a combination.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to ask a question about fat. When you eat healthy fats, does it keep you from wanting to eat unhealthy fats, or what does it do to help you in terms of your cravings throughout the day?
Yeah, it definitely keeps you more satiated. So usually if you'll have this drink, so originally the bulletproof coffee that this is kind of based after was for intermittent fasting. So you would drink this drink in the morning so you can push off breakfast for a little sooner. You don't have to do that. I typically don't.
Do you not recommend that?
No, you can.
Depends
it
on
depends.
the person. Okay.
It really depends on the person. If a person does have, it's definitely better for men than women.
Okay.
It is good for women. It's
Okay.
good for weight loss if you're interested in that. But if you do have a really bad hormone imbalance, it's probably not the best thing.
I should probably, I asked, you guys know I asked so many questions, so
Yeah.
I have to stay on task, Monet.
And also pregnant or breastfeeding, don't fast.
Don't fast. Okay, so that's important to know. I know we kind of veered off, but that's some good information, and I found that about you. You really have so much information to share, so it's not easy to not ask you questions. But we have the cinnamon. You talked about that for blood sugar regulation and flavor. And then what else do you have over there?
For the non-vegan version, we're going to use ghee, which is a clarified butter, so it's just the fat and doesn't have the protein in it. So if someone is lactose intolerant, they can consume ghee if they can't have butter.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so this is another good form of fat. And ghee has a high, especially if it's from grass-fed, you definitely want to make sure you're buying from grass-fed cows. That's really important. But when it's from grass-fed cows, it has a higher level of omega-3s in relation to omega-6 fatty acids. So you want to make sure that ratio is as small as possible.
So you want more omega-3s, less omega-6.
Well, no. So omega-6, you're always going to consume more 6s than 3s.
Okay.
It's just the way it happens.
Okay.
In America, our diets are like 16 6s to 1 3.
Okay.
So ideally, we want to make that 16 more like a 4.
Okay.
So we're still going to be consuming more 6s, but we're just consuming way too much.
So you want to be mindful that the products that you're buying and the fats that you're eating have high omega-3s because they're naturally going to have high omega-6s anyway.
Exactly.
So when you're paying attention to that balance with those omega-3s, it makes a difference in the composition, I guess, of the fat that you're eating, right? So I just want to ask you, and I'm sure a lot of viewers have this question, what makes a fat a healthy fat versus an unhealthy fat?
So a lot of unhealthy fats would be hydrogenated oils or trans fats, and those are basically fats that have been messed with.
Okay.
And they're not real.
So why does your body need fat? I know there's a misconception there for a lot of people where they feel like they shouldn't have fat or they're going to get fat.
Yeah. So our brain is made out of fat. Our cell walls are made out of fat. We need fat to absorb fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K.
Oh, so that's like a whole other...
Yeah,
so we kind of need that to absorb
those are
nutrients.
kind of important.
Okay, yeah. You know what? That's good because I think there are a lot of people out there that I've met who are, trying to get healthy, and they'll go to the store and they'll buy all these supplements and vitamins, but if they're not eating the right foods or giving themselves the proper nutrition, they're not absorbing those vitamins. So that's important to keep in mind. And then we have a couple more things here. What is this here?
So this is collagen. So collagen is going to go in the non-vegan version. Collagen is good for your hair, your nails, your digestive system, your joints. It's good for many things.
Okay.
So this is going to go in the non-vegan version. There is not a vegan version
It's
of
not
collagen.
possible.
It is not possible.
Vegan comes from animals.
Right.
I mean, vegan. Collagen, not vegan. Vegan does not come from animals.
Yeah.
Collagen comes from animals. So if you guys, and I was talking to Emily about this earlier today, before we started filming, I have met people who are vegan who don't know that collagen cannot be vegan, and so they've accidentally consumed things with collagen in them just because they've had some kind of plant-based association with them. So please, if you are trying to go plant-based and it does matter to you, just bear in mind that collagen only comes from animals. But you did mention to me that there is a form of collagen that's not from beef.
Yeah, so this collagen comes from beef. They also have marine collagen.
Okay, so that's from fish.
Right. So if someone, is more open to eating fish than beef, then marine collagen would be a good
Okay,
option.
so that's something to keep an eye out for. Okay. That's okay. So let's get started.
Yeah, sure. So first we'll start with the matcha. So it's just in powder form, and we're going to put a teaspoon into each glass.
I can pass that.
Thank you. My assistant. So I'm just going to put a teaspoon into each glass. Sometimes I'll do a heaping teaspoon too. It doesn't really matter if you put a little too much.
And this was the matcha powder.
And this was the matcha.
And I'll help you clean. I'll do the clean.
Oh, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
then we're going to put in the maca root. So maca is a cruciferous vegetable, like broccoli or cauliflower or something like that. So
and this you were saying helps with energy.
This helps with energy.
It's an adaptogen you mentioned. One of those adaptogens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other types of adaptogens that you can use are like astragalus is really good for your immune system. Reishi is good for stress.
Okay.
Ashwagandha is really good for anxiety.
Maybe, I know you're going to provide us with a PDF. Maybe you can list those alternatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do alternatives for everything.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
This recipe is very
malleable. You can change it. It's interchangeable.
You can interchange almost any ingredient.
All right. So yeah, if you could give us a list of alternatives, that would be cool.
Yeah.
What's next?
So then comes the fat. So in our vegan version, we're gonna do coconut butter. They do sell this by the jar. I just happen to have this little packet.
Yeah, and it's mobile.
Yeah. So I'm gonna add this, and also, so this recipe, if you don't want to give up coffee, you can do the same exact ingredients with coffee. You just don't add hot water.
Okay.
It would be you would just make your coffee and do it like this. Another thing.
Would you omit the matcha though?
Yeah.
Because it has the caffeine. So you would add all of these other ingredients without the matcha powder.
Right.
Okay.
Or instead of matcha powder, if you don't want caffeine at all, I'll use dandelion root also.
Ooh.
So if you love coffee, like I do, but don't love the caffeine, like I do, dandelion is awesome.
I'm going to try that.
So I get Dandy Blend on Amazon, and it's dandelion root.
And dandelion is good for liver.
It's good for your liver. It's good for digestion.
And how much of this are you putting in here?
Usually I'll put about a tablespoon.
Okay, so far we have a teaspoon of the matcha powder. We have a half a teaspoon of the maca.
Right.
And then we have approximately approximately a tablespoon of the coconut butter.
And then I'm going to put ghee in this one.
Okay, and how much was that?
About a half a teaspoon.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to snag this. And then you can do more than one type of fat. So sometimes if I'm putting like a half a teaspoon of ghee in here, I might put a little, maybe a half a tablespoon of coconut butter in.
Okay, to like balance it out.
To balance it out. You can also put coconut oil. You can also do grass-fed butter if that's what you like, what you have on hand. So it's pretty easy. And then I'm going to put the collagen in the non-vegan version.
Oh, it has a scoop. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a scooper in here. And then cinnamon.
Blood sugar regulation, right?
Yeah, and I like to put a lot in, just because.
Cinnamon's awesome.
Because I love it.
Yeah. Could you use other spices like nutmeg or anything like that?
Yeah, I would do.
It's another one of those interchangeable things.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do like, I don't know, maybe like a pumpkin
spice.
Play with
it. Ooh, pumpkin spice. You can
I don't
know. Yeah.
I'm a little behind. It's not fall anymore.
No, it's okay. So do we add the water now?
And then we add water. Okay. So I like using the ball jars because they're a measuring cup.
Oh.
So then you can fill it up to like the one.
Okay. See, I was thinking because they're cute.
And because
they're cute.
So,
and
yeah.
No, it's okay. I wanted to just mention. So you were saying to me that is this too much? Is this right? Yeah.
You do like a little above the one. That's probably good.
You were saying to me that you wanted the water warm, not hot.
Right.
Why is that?
So you want the water warm because it can actually almost kill some of the benefits of the matcha. You want to keep it, I think it's like 160 degrees.
Okay, so just not boiling. So if you boil water, let it sit for a little while before you use it. Otherwise, you're killing all the nutritional value of this awesome drink that you're going through the trouble to make.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or you can, like, before it starts boiling, just pull it off.
Okay, all right.
Whatever
That's a good
works,
measure.
though. And
All
then,
right.
so you can do this in a blender. You don't have to do it in a cup first, but I thought it was easier, and we have this Latte.
Ooh.
It's a milk frother that I will use instead of a blender sometimes. So I'll just, make sure you put it all the way down and then turn it on.
Could you probably get that on like Amazon or something like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a gift, a gift well used.
Yeah.
But you can do this in a blender though, and I think in a blender it will get more
Frothier? Okay.
just because it's a higher speed.
But this is nice because I think people are more likely to use this too. And you have a little one at home right now. You have a 5-month-old.
Yes.
And so we all know that like every little step counts. So if whipping this out is something you can do as opposed to getting the blender out and cleaning stuff and all of that, then some people might want to go with this.
Exactly. Do you want to do yours?
Oh, I'm gonna rinse this off because.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's
I forgot
okay.
about
No, you know
that.
what I'm gonna do? We're gonna wipe it off. It's really not a big deal
Yeah.
because I am vegan and plant-based. So we're just going to wipe it off a little bit. And then I am going to froth mine. And that's okay. We had talked about this and we were like, we're going to do mine first because it's vegan. And it didn't work out that way. But
Yeah.
being dynamic moms, we know that happens. You have these plans or these ideas and you feel like your steps are just going to go in a certain order and you get distracted and stuff happens. And I think what makes us dynamic as individuals, one of the joys of being a mom is you kind of learn to roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have no choice. So here I am frothing away. Now you made it look so much easier. It's not
Let's see
hard.
that blow.
Oh, okay. It's not hard, guys. This is actually really easy, but hers looked like professional. But I guess you do it much more often. All
Yeah,
right.
that's good.
And now, it looks good.
Good
I
job.
don't want to stop now. All right, so I'm going to stop because of time. And there is a bit of froth here, and I'm going to taste it, and I'm going to let you guys know if it actually has that creamy consistency. Yes. Yes, it does. So it definitely still gives me that warm, cozy feeling that a real latte with, for me, it would be a non-dairy something or other would give. I feel that warmth, that comfort. This is delicious. It tastes really good on its own, but I'm wondering what it would taste like with some raw honey.
Yeah, raw honey is
So I
definitely
did bring that out.
Using raw honey is a great alternative for sugar because number one, it's natural, and number two, it comes with a lot of benefit too. So it has minerals in it as well. So you're getting even more.
Which is and that's another thing you mentioned to me about honey also can't be heated too much because then it would also lose, just like the matcha powder, it would lose its nutritional value. So, truthfully, most of us wait until our drinks cool down to that point anyway before we eat them or drink them rather. So I'm going to tell you what this tastes like with honey now. This is like a Christmas drink. And guys, look, my Christmas tree, right? It's Christmas time, holiday time. Yeah. That's really, really good. That's like dessert. I want to call this Christmas in a cup. Okay. This is like an inside hug.
Yeah.
It's really good, you guys. So I want to say thank you again to Emily for sharing this with us. And we're going to have that recipe available to you so that you can print it out as well. You gave us so much great information. You really gave us more than a recipe tutorial. You gave us so much nutritional information. And
awesome.
Yeah. And I really appreciate your time. You really let me pick your brain about all of these different items. So
yeah, of course.
All right. We're so glad to have had you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi again, guys. So we're here with our matcha lattes, which I'm like loving. It tastes good with and without honey, but I did want that like heartwarming treat, so I'm loving it, and you guys will see that recipe. But I wanted to get a little bit more information about you and your story.
Sure.
And I know that you have 2 children. You have a newbie at home, 5 months old, and then you also have a stepson who's 19.
Yes.
Now, were you a nutrition? I want to call you a nutrition specialist.
Okay.
Okay. I know you do nutrition response because you have
I'm a nutritionist.
You
too.
are.
Yeah.
But I want our viewers to understand, like, that you're an integrative nutritionist and that you come from a holistic perspective.
Yes.
So I think that that's important to emphasize. Now, did you do that before you had children before you had your son.
Yes.
And what got you into that?
Okay, so, well, I did do it before I had my son, but I didn't do it always. I actually worked in public accounting for the first part of my career.
I love these stories.
I know. So when I was in college, or up until the point where I was in college, I was kind of a mess. My health, to be honest. You know, I had really bad digestive issues. I didn't really sleep. I had autoimmune issues and like a million other things. And I was chunky growing up too, which has a big part to do with it. But so when I was in college, I was kind of like, enough is enough. And I just started changing my diet, and I lost about 30 pounds in a couple months. And I felt so much better. And that really changed a lot for me. I wasn't better. So nothing was 100% better, but I improved.
So it sounds like you were driven initially by enough is enough. I'm tired of being tired.
Yeah.
Nothing particular happened. It was just you knew
I was
that there was some better way.
Okay. Yeah. So then after that, I became really into nutrition. And then when I graduated college, instead of following my passion, I followed what I should be doing.
Which happens to many people.
Which happens to a lot of people. And I started working in public accounting. That's what my bachelor's degree was in. And I was totally miserable. I cried daily. I wasn't healthy, just because my time, the amount, like, you had no time for anything. I was really stressed out. So I ended up quitting, finally, after 2 years. And then that's when I decided to finally get my master's in nutrition. And then meanwhile, as I'm working towards my master's, I became a nutrition response testing patient. So during this time, that's when I finally, my level of health reached, like, that's when my problems were resolved. I had frequent gallbladder attacks, and I stopped getting them. Actually, the big thing is that I didn't get my period for about 2 years.
Wow.
And that's what pushed me to do nutrition response testing, and probably within 3 to 6 months of starting a program, it came back.
So that is so amazing that what you were eating directly affected. I think so many people think about what they're eating and their health and just limit it to their weight, and even their energy. They go into, they'll go off to the next level and talk about energy, but they're not thinking about their reproductive system. They're not thinking about, heart health necessarily, or how you mentioned, with this latte that we made, you talked about adaptogens and how they help us with our mood and our response to the environment. Is that kind of...
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's nutrition, guys. So.
Yeah, and I think something with women especially is thyroid issues, and that's your hormones too.
Yeah.
So that is huge. It's huge with nutrition, for sure. So anyway, I became a nutrition response testing patient, and then at the same time, I started seeing patients or clients in the traditional nutrition area, more of a consultant, I guess I would say. So when you would interview someone and you would talk about their health concerns, and I would give recommendations. So yes, I was holistic. I would recommend whole food recommendations. I would recommend supplements. But I really was frustrated because I felt like I wasn't getting to the root cause of people's issues. So for example, if someone came in and had acid reflux, I would say to them, oh, why don't you try, these natural remedies such as taking apple cider vinegar or eating bitter greens, or, try all these things. But I wasn't you weren't like addressing their
I wasn't addressing
the cause.
Okay.
So you could have two people with acid reflux, and it's for two completely different reasons.
Got it.
One person can actually have H. pylori, which is a common one. And in my prior nutrition career, I would say, oh, you might have a bacteria problem.
Right.
And then tell them what to do based on that. But I didn't actually know if they had a bacteria.
Right.
So that's where nutrition response testing comes in, because every time I went in and I had a problem, we found why. Like
So-
there was an answer.
So, and that's what you represent, what you've created is called rooted in love, right? So it's the root of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Really, right?
I
That's
didn't
what
even
I'm
think
hearing.
about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Is
So
I know
cool.
you're getting to the root of what the issues
Yeah,
are, and
yeah.
it's rooted in love, right? So you want to help people to manifest and cultivate the positive things that,
Right.
that make them feel whole.
Yes.
Right, and so
Yeah.
that comes from that
For
love,
sure.
that love part of your practice, but.
Oh,
Right?
I love that. I'm gonna use that
yeah,
now.
do it. Yeah, because you're rooted in love and you're getting to the root of
Yeah.
the issue. And so what I'm hearing when you say that is that people, like, we could have two different issues, and what you do in nutrition response testing is you help find the unique nutrition needs for the
Exactly.
individual, because it's what's causing their issue that varies from person to person.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like, you know, two people could be diagnosed with hypothyroid.
Right.
And you know, when you do nutrition response testing, which we're going to show you in a few minutes, you do you test all of a person's organs and glands, body parts, whatever. And one person, their thyroid might show up as being weak, but the other person, their thyroid might not be weak. And because you have to realize that anything can really cause anything. So if I'll keep going with the hypothyroid thing, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, they can.
So with hypothyroid, and then someone might say, and they'll say, "Oh, but I have hypothyroid. My
doctor said.
Why didn't my labs said that my numbers were too low?"
Right.
But that doesn't mean that the thyroid is causing the problem. Another organ could be under stress, which is causing the thyroid to
compensate.
compensate.
Okay.
And then on the other hand, someone might come to me and say, "Oh, I have hypothyroid," or they don't have hypothyroid, I'm sorry. And they might say, like, they don't have a thyroid issue, but then I find their thyroid, and they'll say, "But my numbers were fine."
And something else is compensating.
Right.
But the root of the issue is the thyroid.
Right.
Because everybody's
And
different.
it could just mean that your thyroid is working extra hard, but in order to make those labs or make those numbers the right numbers.
And there's only so much that, current medical science can reflect.
Right.
So that's, you're getting to the internal pieces that at this point, and it's always evolving, that at this point maybe we're not able to recognize with a lab test.
Right.
So talking about all this nutrition response testing, I want you to show us how to do it.
Sure.
So this is something that you're trained in.
Yes.
That you're a trained professional, and so it's important. I just want to emphasize that I know a little bit about this. I've heard about kinesiology testing in my life, but I'm certainly not certified or intensely trained to use it. And I do believe that it's important, guys, when you are seeking help in this area, to make sure that the person that you're working with has real training.
Right. So I guess I'll finish my story then,
Yes,
since
please.
we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
But so then I was really frustrated with the way I was practicing nutrition, and then I decided, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I want answers. I want to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got trained down in Florida. I went, for about the course of like 6 months, I went down a bunch of times for intensive weekends, and that's where you do the training in Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I finished the training for that in early 2017.
Okay, so you've been doing this for about a year.
Yeah,
More
like
than
a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay, that's
Yeah.
really cool. And we're gonna see
Yes.
how it goes. So
Yes.
tell me what to do.
Okay.
Should I move this out of the way?
Um,
Want me to move it forward a
no.
little?
yeah,
We're
you
good?
can move it forward a little,
Okay.
but stand up.
Okay, so I'm standing.
Okay. So I want you to put your arm out like this.
Okay.
Right, so that everyone can see. And then, so I'm going to push my arm down.
Okay.
And I want you to match my pressure and push up. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so match. All right, so do you feel that
Yep.
lock?
The resistance. Yeah.
Right. So in other times when there's some type of weakness, your arm is going to go weak. So,
Okay.
So I'm going to use you kind of as a dummy
Yeah.
instead of, but just to show everyone.
Yeah.
how-
I want people to see how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is I would test certain organs. So like, I'm gonna touch your spleen.
Ooh, can you do my liver?
Sure.
Just because I really think I have an issue there and I want to see if I'm legit.
Actually, your liver is weak.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna go.
But that's an example, so I want to show people what that looks like. So
right. So so you're strong here.
So this is me strong.
And then when I put my hand on her liver and push down, she can't hold her
No,
arm.
and I do try, guys.
And I'm not pushing any harder.
No.
So the way this works is, if you're familiar with hypothermia, when you fall through the ice into a lake, what's going to happen? Your energy leaves your extremities to protect the core.
Right.
Because your heart's important, your liver's important, your hand, not so important.
Right.
So this is the same principle behind that. So when my hand's on your liver,
yeah,
and I'm pushing down, what's happening is your liver is already under stress. So your energy is going to leave the extremity to protect the liver.
That's what makes me weak.
That's why
so
she's weak.
Cool.
So
I mean, not cool, but cool.
Yeah. So like, put your arm out again. So like, I'm gonna put my hand on your heart, and your heart's fine.
Okay.
Your spleen, fine, and then we'll do your liver again. Weak.
Yeah.
So then, once we know which organ or organs, so for most people, a couple might show up during an initial exam. Then we find out which one's priority, and then we use nutrition to see how we can fix it.
What works for them? Like, you use the same test to see what nutrition, what food or supplement would work best for their body to heal.
Exactly. So everything has energy. Okay. Just like your body has energy, my body has energy. So this is an example of a supplement. Cardio Plus, it's a good heart supplement, not for liver, but we'll pretend for this situation. So these supplements have nutrition and food that have energy as well. Okay. So when I am going to put this up against your body, let's say it's a really good liver supplement. Okay. Here, you can hold that. Mm-hmm. And let's say it's a good liver supplement. Yeah. And I put my hand on your liver and I press down. It's going to make your liver stronger. It's going to make your arm strong when I am putting pressure on your liver. Because I now have what my body needs to be balanced. Yes. So my energy is no longer going to that area. Exactly. Okay, because if your liver's fine, your arm's like chilling. Your arm's going to be fine. Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, you can also, my understanding is you can also test foods. Yes. Right? So guys, I kind of knew that. And I happen to have this protein powder that I'm a little suspicious about. So I pulled it from my cabinets and I'm exploiting her. So this is a protein powder that I have a feeling could be the culprit for my liver being out. So how would you go about testing me for this food? So all you have to do is, we'll put this down for a second and let's just calibrate you again. So make sure you're strong. And then I'm going to just put this up against your body. And you're actually weak on it. No more Sun Warrior. $39 per thing. Yeah. So Monet does not love, or your body does not love Sun Warrior. In this particular one, I guess. But it could work for somebody else. Totally. So it's all, I think that's important to understand. Is that pretty much, should we sit down? Do you have anything else to show? No. Okay. No, I don't. Yeah, but like, so, I mean, protein powders are so hard. Most don't test on people. I thought Sun Warrior was I've heard that it's this particular sports brand. Okay. So some are better than others. Yeah, and I want to emphasize too what you were saying, that this is all unique. So I think what happens a lot as mothers, and tell me, do you have a lot of, because I know your practice talks about its family health services. So is it all ages? Yeah. Including children? Yeah, for sure. So children, children when they're in the womb. So like we love seeing, or I love seeing pregnant women. Yeah. We do like a prenatal plan. Wow, this is awesome. This is my favorite, especially because I was just pregnant and I'm so into the birth thing. But so everyone's taking a one-size-fits-all prenatal supplement, but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because two people are pregnant, they don't necessarily have the same nutritional needs. Right. So we have specific supplements that we will test on a pregnant woman, and she will have completely different, two pregnant women will test for different things. Okay. They will dose for different amounts. So a coworker of mine and I were pregnant at the same time, and we were generally on the same things because, you need like folate, you need calcium and iron. So we were generally on the same things, but we were on completely different amounts of different things.
Just because you're different people.
Just because we're different
And then
people.
also I think your environment it takes a factor, depending on where you live, what kind of pollutants that you're breathing and stuff like that, right?
And also the supplements themselves that we use are whole food supplements. So most supplements that are on the market are what you would call nutraceuticals. So they're synthetic. They were made in a lab.
Okay.
So these are actually made of
real food. Okay.
Yeah.
And then just like freeze dried and compressed kind of, but they're actual real food. So guys, I'm telling you, we could like talk about this. I could pick your brain for like hours and hours and hours. You seem like a wealth of information, and I think I think it's exceptional too that you work with all ages, because I think that some people can be intimidated by that.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to know that we have a resource here on Long Island that does this with the gamut of ages, including before birth, and when a baby is still in the womb. So I think that is such a valuable service that you have to offer.
Right.
What I wanted to ask you a little bit more about was when you are, and then we're going to talk about your dynamic deal. When you are working with people, do you work with like individuals repeatedly? Like, do they come to you for multiple appointments?
Yes.
Do you just see them once? How does that typically work?
So typically you're on a program for as long as, so usually when a person comes in, we're dealing with a chronic issue, right? So, and in those beginning stages, they'll come pretty frequently.
Okay.
Just because, their body's going through changes. We want to make sure that their body's handling everything okay. That we want to make sure that, and we go over diet as well.
Okay.
So not only are we doing the supplements and the muscle testing, we're having you write down your food every week, and we talk about what you're eating.
Wow.
Because the better you're eating, likely the less supplements you'll be on. The idea is to get you on as few as possible. To be efficient.
Yeah.
So, but then as time goes on, as a person's getting better, once you're better, you don't want to just stop taking them. You don't want to just go back to your old practices. But you might come in a couple times a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you have a very awesome, I was going to say pretty awesome, but that would be an understatement. So you have a very awesome dynamic deal for us.
Yes.
And do you want to tell us about it?
So the dynamic deal is a $30 initial exam, nutrition response testing. And the expiration for that is January 7th.
Wow.
And then after January 7th, we would do 50% off, which is $70. The $140 is the value.
Oh, wow. So you're giving, okay, so I just want to get this clear. Sure. This is a $140, typically a $140 evaluation.
Yes.
Right? That you're offering to dynamic moms exclusively for $30.
Yes.
Which is amazing. Thank you very much. Until January 7th. So what's really, really cool about that, guys, is this is that time when people start thinking about, new year, new habits, right? This is like the perfect gift opportunity for yourself to begin to create that momentum. And I feel so thankful to Emily that's a very, very generous offer.
Yeah,
and then,
of course.
Yeah, on top of that, you're giving us the added benefit of, for dynamic moms, 50% off. And does that have an expiration date?
No.
And that is our forever, guys.
If you come in and you say dynamic moms, then $70.
That is incredible. Thank you so much. That
You're
means so
welcome.
much to us. And I really appreciate all of your time. And I really picked your brain in this amount of time. I asked you a lot of questions. And I have to say, guys, I think there's a lot to be said when I ask somebody a lot of questions and their answers are on like this, because it means that they really know their stuff. And and that means something. So this is, you clearly like live and breathe this life, and you walk the walk.
I do.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and I love that. You can see that in everything you say and in your face. So thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, have a great day.
Bye.